Because we're changing Born in Trouble.
Are we no longer in trouble?
If you subscribe to Born in Trouble as it is, you'll still be on the new website that knew us as well. So thank you for everyone that's listened to us, that supported us through our cannabis journeys and our um, breakdown society as it is. But tonight, in the last episode, we have Mr. Andrew Johnson,
What up, fellas?
Georgia's greatest. Georgia's greatest. They got Peaches. They got
For now,
Tyler
peach,
Studios.
whether global warming is moving the peach farming north.
Yeah, 6 inches of snow.
Mm. Well, they got frozen peaches. That's good for y'all who like drinks. And you got Andrew Johnson. Mr. Andrew Johnson. Thank you for showing up.
Absolutely, brother.
Georgia, Georgia.
And the man singing is Big Chief Kohuna. Mr. Brooks with the good luck.
What it is, what it is. I'm bumming. I started the new year wrong. I completely screwed myself.
Did you
Completely.
really? How did that work out?
Uh, so I mean the story starts with the very first world concept, but I had extra money in my FSA that I had to use it or lose it. And I couldn't find some receipts, whatever, to get like use my pay for my glasses or whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I saw this scale, like one of these newfangled scales that does all the body measurements, whatever. So I'm like, I'll just
Okay.
get that. That'll burn the money. That's just evil. That thing's evil. I can understand why some people cry when they get on the scale. That shit just hasn't been bringing me joy.
No.
Well,
It's bringing me down, in fact.
dropping bombs as usual. Thank you. Thank you. So, listen, it's a brand new year. A lot of stuff going on. I've been watching some of the news stuff. I've been trying to tune out a lot of it. One of the reasons why is because I saw a report about how this actually works and what this guy is actually doing. And we're being bombarded once again after 40 years of peace. We're being bombarded with information, all bad. Throw it out there. Let's see if it works out. If it doesn't work out, the reason why is to confuse you, and at the end of the day, you don't think that it's as bad as it actually was. So, in light of all, in light of black people making themselves in public positions, because y'all saw that fight in Chicago today, didn't you? Did you see that fight in Chicago, in the suburb of Illinois? There, you didn't see that?
I think I saw it. I didn't really
Yeah, I
pay
didn't
too
know.
much
I
attention.
think I
I
did
mean,
too. I
there,
didn't know what it was.
yeah, I didn't know where it was, and there was also a huge fight at the VCU St. Louis game yesterday that a friend of mine
Was
was
there? I missed
doing.
that one.
So, like, the world is crazy right now.
It
Just
really is.
is.
There's a lot of
People,
college football fights, interstate rivalry type stuff. It looks like it started with that Michigan Ohio State game, and then it seemed like everybody started to do it after that.
It seems like a good idea. If you're drinking, it seems like a good
Yeah.
idea.
are people really that aggressive levels? I mean,
I
these people that we're talking about there, those are students. In college, what do you have to worry about besides getting laid? Are they getting in college now?
Well, there was a survey last week that by the numbers, people in that age bracket are having much less sex than they used to.
Yeah.
Which is
Like the
nuts.
number of virgins in
Why
their
go to
mid 20s
college?
has gone up. Like it's a
It's
thing.
the incels.
That's why
Why
JD
go to
Vance had to go
college
on there
then?
and say he wants America to be great again. They need to have more babies because these people are
In
not fucking
college?
enough.
Yeah.
They're definitely not.
But
Why
we don't
would
have to
you?
worry about it
Why would
because
you
the
want to go to
Exums are
college?
fucking
Is the
because
question.
you're going to be like the grandfather of 12 soon.
Yes, that's correct. That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing.
Populating the world with Exums.
That's right. I'm saying, fuck what you heard. I mean, as long as they don't get deported, and who knows at this point, are they even going to be citizens? People, they look right over the birthright citizen situation. But generally, these things work is they don't stop. So, are black people next?
We'll see.
No, I say that black people aren't next because they have to have somebody to discriminate against. So we got to stay.
Well, I mean, they've got plenty of people to discriminate against. I mean, when they were just Europeans, they discriminated against the Italians. They discriminated against the Irish. Like, they got people.
Yeah.
They just got an easier target here because, you can just look and see. It's very
Yeah.
apparent. You don't have to listen for the accent or whatever. Ask them where they're from. You can just look at them. Oh, shit on them.
Yeah.
Well, did you see it? You did. Oh, well, you really go on, and I only go on Facebook to basically
To argue with people.
No, not argue with them. I don't even argue with them. I just bother them. I like to tweak them and leave them. Because I'm not going to spend my time arguing with these things. I read comments of people that I used to know, and I'm like, fuck, you're so lost. You're down the rabbit hole. Somebody's saying that, goes on a diatribe and talks about Donald Trump, and at the end of it says, if you don't like facts, then, I'm saying that's just the way it is. Might be, just come and debate me. It's like, almost like, to me, it sounds like an old man on the phone sitting on his porch saying, please come talk to me. I'm lonely. Pay attention to me. And I'm like, no, I can't. I don't have time for that. But my post was somebody had taken a picture of a guy getting arrested by ICE, and he wearing a Trumps for Latinos shirt.
Yeah. Well, the one guy, the guy in Florida from Venezuela, he voted for Trump, and they just got his wife, and he's trying to negotiate now. He's asking for help.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I was like, a little too late. Exactly. A little too late for that.
Yeah, all these people who did not understand, who thought it was all fun and games because they were not going to be impacted. I have to admit, the Schadenfreude dance seems like a good idea at those moments.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
really? Really? The guy who lied, the guy who cheated on every wife, that's the guy you decided to trust. And now you're mad that he turned out untrustworthy. I think you got to be more mad at yourself in that moment, right?
Exactly.
Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, we're up to, like, infraction number 7,087.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you, Holmes. Like, you might as well dig a hole and jump in it at that point. You're not really deserving of being amongst the rest of us at this moment.
Oh my gosh. Well, I put the post up with my own caption, which was Darwin at work. Which is exactly what you just said, Andrew, a couple of minutes ago. It's Darwin at work. It's like you voted against your own best interest, wanting to prove that you're better than somebody else, as if somebody's going to come by. Your vote's a secret. Only if I'm a police officer and I'm locking one of these guys up and they're saying, hey, but I voted for Trump, I'm going to be like, prove it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That makes them brothers, though, because the cops voted for Trump, and they got their fuck around and find out moment right away. Like they got their moment. Like we're going to pardon the J6ers. The J6 hostages are coming home, and if they pissed on any cops, so be it.
Well,
hey.
A lot of. Go ahead. What are you gonna say? Because I was gonna say they just disassociate. They're not those cops. They would have never done that in their neighborhood or their town because they respect theirs. But also let go of that guy who came down here. He was out on bail at the time of January 6th because of like an inappropriate touching of a minor or talking to a minor, something like that.
Yeah.
And they pardoned him. And I think he went out and he did something again. I think he's dead already. Somebody shot him. Police shot him.
Well, there was one guy who was part of the J6 crowd that got pardoned, and he went and got himself shot. He went and got pulled over by the cops and decided, But that's, in some ways, that's Trump's fault.
Only the best.
If the president pardoned me for a crime, I would feel emboldened. I'd feel like I got some hugo.
Sure.
I can
move
around the world and, like, this shit don't really matter. Like, y'all can't say nothing to me. And
Man,
they did. They shot him.
No.
Yeah. They have he was probably safer if he'd have stayed in jail.
Jon Stewart, who I absolutely, Jon Stewart ripped everybody a new one the other night, and it was quite enjoyable because he was like, he was just like the J6 hostages. Imagine that the people who stormed the Capitol might not all be good people, or there might be a large chunk of them. And he started running down many of the people who had other violations, whether they were, abusing children, domestic violence, whatever. He started delineating some of those folks from the group. But then he also said, like, it's time to stop panicking. And he goes, the system is working exactly as it was designed to work. We keep saying that Trump is doing X, Y, and Z, and he's trying, but the system is pushing back and it's functioning as it is. The problem is that too many people on the Republican side are just giving up their responsibility to advise and consent and just playing party politics. But that's also our fault because we voted them in.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like what these people are doing, vote them out.
Well, there's some good news on that front because there was a special election in Iowa last night, or I guess Tuesday, and a district that Trump won by 20 points. The Democrat won that special election seat by 6 points.
Wow.
Yeah. So there is pushback. It's just it's gonna it's gonna be subtle like that. But when you see something like that, that's a sign that more people aren't going to be when the more and more stuff that comes out with some of the things he's doing. The I guess I don't want to use the word woke because then that's a bad term to them, but the I guess more eye-opening experiences that they experience when they start to see, like, did you see the thing with the federal he's going to ban the federal what was it, where it wasn't going to affect if you get a check, but it affects other stuff like
that whole
the WIC and Section 8 and all of that stuff. And you would think that doesn't a lot of people think, oh, that just affects the poor people, but it also affects the stipends for farmers. It affects landlords. It affects all these people directly or indirectly are going to get jammed up by this thing. And when they ain't getting their money, they're gonna really start tripping.
Yeah, everybody gets whipped. So what he's going to have to do at that point is he's going to have to reverse field without telling people that he's reverse field.
Oh no, he had to reverse field out loud. They had to rescind that order. That order was rescinded today.
Oh, they did do it today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because the other option is they're going to have to do another federal subsidy cutout, print some more money, and send it to the farmers to make them whole, in order for him to keep his political power in his base, to keep them from actually complaining. So maybe this time he's going to be forced to actually do his job to a certain extent. If things keep on like this, he says one thing, turns out, oh, that's batshit crazy, can't do that. Let's pull it back. Is that?
Oh, that's unconstitutional. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Essentially, yes. He's pushing every envelope. To me, it seems like he's just pushing every button that's available.
Well, that whole like if there was we had traded a video earlier. One of the brothers had sent something around earlier and talked about them backing crypto, them buying using Federal Reserve dollars to buy crypto and creating a crypto reserve.
Yeah.
You sent that. That's thievery. Like that. That's the thing. Like all this other BS is keeping our eyes someplace else while that's thievery. Crypto is garbage.
Well, there was
speculation.
Yeah. Yes, but there was what I saw was there was a man who voted for Trump. He was married, and this genius took something like $500,000 or $600,000. He wiped out his retirement account to buy this crypto thing that's and it's tanking. And his wife just filed divorce papers because he can't get it back. It's gone. And so she was like, she told him he was at that sunken cost fallacy stage You know that casino feeling when you like, if I just go to the ATM and take out another $200, I get back the $2,000 I lost.
I'm about my luck's
Yeah,
about
yeah,
to turn.
yeah. He was doing that, and his wife was like, "That's it, I'm done." And so another marriage down the drain.
Well, the crazy thing is that you get to be our age, you start to get more people trying to contact you to invest in things like crypto
Yeah.
and all these different things. And really, like last week, they were like heavy on me on all of my platforms. They're, hey, I'm invest in crypto, come and do this. And, to me, they're just picking winners. All it is another opportunity for them to pick your pocket and pick winners. Little do they know there's nothing for me to give them anyway. But they're making the effort. And that's what you have to be aware of. And for those people that aren't aware of with crypto, Trump has said that they're going to start a Federal Reserve and they're actually going to back crypto by selling off the United States gold reserves. And they were going to use the crypto to pay down the national debt. Of course, crypto isn't accepted anywhere. So who are you going to pay this crypto to pay down national debt? Are you going to give it to China? Are you going to give it to Europe, your European bankers? No, it's not possible. It's a big grift.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for them to just basically steal and give money. And people voted for this. So to me, it's Darwin. It's all Darwin. It's the next years the president is not Donald Trump. It's what you call it. It's Darwin. What is Darwin's first name? I say Darwin so much.
Charles.
Charles, yeah,
Darwin.
Darwinism.
Jeez. Yo, we're in every day it gets worse. You vote Latinos for Trump, you're getting deported. We'll talk to you at the border. Middle class for Trump, you invested in your crypto. You know what I'm saying? Now your savings is gone. It seems to me like he's stripping everybody of everything and he's just leaving you with your guns. So that way everyone can have their clashes and try to go in, and pretty soon, and they're demonizing all these people. So they're saying, what, if you want your money, it's not me who stole your money. I didn't tell you to do that crypto and everything. It's Ahmad. Ahmad, the guy that's fucking your ex-wife. He did. And that's where we are.
Blame the black guy.
Blame it. They got to get rid of, maybe you're right, Rob. They got to get rid of them so that way they can clearly see the black people who are to blame. That's all it is.
Yeah, Texas may have some. It might be time for Texas to secede. It might be the best path forward for everybody.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because then Texas can just go back to being Mexico, and maybe they'll just leave us alone. But then there'll be people sneaking over the Arizona border. They'll just move the problem north. How about the fact that they talk about the migrant problem in all these northern cities? Nobody talks about the fact that we were gifted that problem in the north by the governor of Texas and the governor of Florida. Like, they took their problem, stuck it on a plane, and made it Eric Adams' problem.
Yeah.
They're not responsible.
They're not responsible. Like, New York had like migrants, like fucking Mexicans marched from fucking Texas to New York City. Like, all of a sudden we got overrun by these motherfuckers because they just showed up. No, somebody brought them there. An American brought them there.
It's not the fault. Well, they create the problem. This is what they do. They create the problem. The governors use their discretion to use taxpayer dollars to send those people to blue states. And now they send ICE into the blue states to get rid of the problem that they created by sending them all over to blue states. So basically, once again, Donald Trump is the hero. Is he?
There are no heroes here.
These are the plans. This is what we're doing here. We have all this information that's available to us. Why are people so fucking stupid when it comes to really the basics? Everyone's about the bag. Talking about that fight earlier that happened with the political thing, that was about the town mayor or a person on the council dipping their toe into all of the core town and taking town officials to Las Vegas, where they paid for rental cars, ran up like $500,000 on credit cards with like bills and with bills at restaurants and all of the stuff. And what color is she? She's black. Because it's the bag. Because we, even our leaders, quote unquote, our elected political leaders, feel like it's okay for us to do because they do it. And that's the justification, which is no justification. It leaves us no place. Definitely doesn't give us a moral high ground. Me personally, I feel like, like I was listening today about this thing about being black. And I was listening to the young people, and first of all, I feel so bad when I listen to them talk because they really feel like they're inferior. You're not inferior. Like, that's the first thing. I can't even engage in those conversations because I don't understand how to.
Why don't you understand it is the question.
I don't understand how to, because I just think you should be smart enough to understand that you have value.
Who's pouring that into a lot of these kids?
Their parents.
Who's there to pour?
The people in the neighborhood. It's other black people, unfortunately, because they've been indoctrinated by a larger crowd. But please, you have a different point of view. Tell me, explain it to me.
I knowing where we grew up and how we grew up, like you could see even in our neighborhood, there weren't a lot of people. First of all, a lot of the parents worked in New York City. They were gone all damn day. They were gone 12 hours a day. So you were on your own. But then I can name you 6 teachers easily, without too much thought, who basically tried to make me think as a black person I was less than.
Oh yeah.
So if you go to these schools where they just assume, I remember telling an 8th grade science teacher one time, because he's like, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. And I was like, yo, you're here to teach me science. My dad will teach me the rest.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, I got a dad. I don't need you to tell me how to behave.
Right.
Like, so if you grow up in these environments, and many of us grow up in schools, there are no black teachers in most of these schools. There's no black men in these buildings. Like, who's pouring into them? Who's giving them that regular reassurance? They're getting most of their messages off of social media and from the culture at large. Like, it's a very exceptional group who can sort of see through the noise on their own and discern their place. Like what you're describing is 10% behavior.
So Andrew, did we fail our kids? Have we failed our community?
Well, that's a tough call, man. It's when I was teaching DEI. Well, now I'm glad I'm
not anymore.
I have to worry about it now. But when I was teaching DEI, these are some of the conversations that we had, and I think one of the strangest numbers that I always would come up through all these stats and everything when I just be researching stuff for the teacher's class is right now. We got 54% of our country reads at about a 6th grade reading level. I mean, and that's why you're getting these results. I mean, this is what you get. I mean, when we don't have when the structures isn't in place, it would be like, the infrastructure within our community, it would be like driving across a bunch of roads that have potholes everywhere. I mean, it's just, you can't, I mean, this is what you're going to get because there's the structure's not there. So a lot of people are under the impression that this is about as good as it's going to get. And it's, more likely could get worse. But I point out, I believe in positive reinforcement over the negative. So I always tell people, look, it can always get better if you want it to. You're just going to have to, it's a collective. The one thing that upsets me about our community more than anything else is that we're so cutthroat against each other. We don't work together where other communities do. And it keeps us in the loop of always being dead last in net worth.
We also do not value education.
And that's another story where the biggest thing, the things that we value sometimes in our community don't really have anything to do with us improving or getting, it's almost like a lot of us are holding out hope that one person in 1,000 is going to make it and then come back and give us a few bucks. And it's just like we're just waiting for that one guy. It's like we're playing Powerball. We're waiting for that one person to hit and then drag us along with them because we're his boys or something. It's not. That's the strategy. It also applies in dating. The women are doing that. They're looking for that they're trying to hit that home run with the guy who's got the money, the resources, whatever. And you tell them the numbers ain't adding up. They got less than 1% chance, and they say, "Well, at least I got that." And they just, and this is where we're at. We're all waiting for this big thing to happen, and it's not because we're going trying to get it ourselves. We're waiting for somebody else to hit, and then drag us along.
When I attended Temple University. And Temple's a mission school. I mean, Temple was founded as a place, for people to go to night school, for people to who were, not necessarily college kids at that time.
Yeah.
So Temple has always had a little bit of a mission. When I went to Temple, my freshman year, 85% of the enrolled freshmen wrote and read at a below college grade level.
Wow.
Most of them around 8th grade. So 85% of the people who came into Temple had to take a remedial composition course just to get up to speed to then go do the rest of their college work.
Wow.
And that's 30 years ago. That's 30 plus years ago.
Well, it's worse now, unfortunately.
Problems like that don't get better.
Yeah.
Nobody's invested the money in it. Nobody's invested the time in it. So I don't know why it would get better. But yeah, it is absolutely worse now.
And you would think with a school as prestigious as Temple, that you saying that blows.
Well,
that's hard to believe.
But Temple did a deal long before anybody else did. Like if you finish in the top 10% at certain high schools in Philadelphia, you're automatically admitted to Temple.
Okay.
Like you're in. So they started dealing with that a long time ago. So I mean, you look at people. Central is one of the big Central, and I'm gonna forget the place on 16th and Spring Garden. But those are the two big academic high schools in Philadelphia. But even the kids they put out, a lot of them are behind because the schools are overcrowded. The combination of kids who are actively involved in trying to learn, that's a much smaller proportion of the students than the kids who are there for the babysitting service that school provides.
Yeah.
And that's what the one thing the pandemic taught a lot of people. The schools are just babysitters. Like the schools are there to babysit. There's no other real reason for it for most of them.
Yeah, that's tough.
Well, they're not trying to create challenging minds, that's for sure. Because a mind that can challenge the system and challenges that's for the rich kids. That's for the congressional kids. They're the ones that get to go to those schools. They actually are given the
I send my daughter to
freedom.
private school too. I'm not rich, but we send our daughter to private school too.
Well, that's because you wanted your daughter to be a well-rounded individual, and you had the means to do it.
If you're gonna play, if the game is chess, play chess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the beginning, I'm sure it wasn't always that easy to come up with that tuition. It was probably, as time has progressed. So you actually made a decision to educate your daughter in a specific way, so that way she can understand the rules. The things that keep going through my mind over these past couple of weeks are two things. The Martin Luther King Jr. quote where he says, where he was talking to Harry Belafonte, and he says that, I'm afraid that we're going to get our integration. It's a longer quote, but he says, but the basis of it goes, we're going to get our integration, but I'm afraid that what we're integrating into is a burning building. And as I look at it now, and I look at a lot of these people that are going on, I listen to social media more than I participate. Okay, that's the first thing. And one thing that I noticed is that the common theme is the bag. As if the bag somehow is going to save you from all of your ills and everything else that's wrong with you. That's not the pursuit of happiness. That's not, this whole idea of generational wealth, when you don't really honor your family. Generational wealth is a family-based goal. So if you're not working together with your family to create it, then I don't know what you're doing. And then another thing that I saw was There was some professional athlete, a former professional athlete, who had called off his engagement because the prenup, the wife wanted a guaranteed $3 million alimony for the rest of life if they were to divorce. So, and in the interim, this guy had put $400,000 into her business in the interim. Oh, Chad Ochocinco.
Yes,
People
yes.
thought Chad Johnson, they thought he was a fool, because he was running around with fake chains all that time and pretending like he was spending money. And the reality was, Chad Johnson won't spend it shit. He was like living off of like basically like $10,000, $15,000. And that's
Yeah.
the good thing about
Yeah.
being a celebrity. You actually get enough from other people, from sponsors, that if you really was about that saving life, about that growing your wealth life, you could actually not spend any money and appear as if you're doing okay. Because I mean, really, at the end of the day, I never really cared about that stuff either. I like to eat good food, so I don't care where I bring it as long as it's safe and it's clean. I don't care about the car that I drive as long as me and the woman like it and everything. I'm not driving it into the bedroom. That's what I used to tell women at the bar. And they used to say, like, what car do you drive? Don't worry, baby, I'm not driving that into the bedroom. But what you will be riding is plenty enough seat room. Okay, you're gonna be good. But
What if they wanted to do it in the
these
back seat?
people,
That could have been. They could have been asking for that reason.
that's a problem.
They,
That's
they
a
might have
problem.
wanted a little hit in the parking lot.
But we're not going back. We're not going back to high school. We're not doing that. I don't do that. I'm not. I'm not.
It's weird because I've run into a strain of women, in the last couple of years, whatever, and they're like, they're age appropriate, you know, but they all want to like get off in the bathroom and shit. Like they're all like, oh, they need to go in the bathroom. I'll give you some head in the bathroom. Like, really? I want to get. I'm not really in the mood to get head in the room where somebody took shit 5 minutes ago. Like, that's not appealing to me anymore. Like,
Right.
I don't really sure why they think that's a thing.
Is that a Blumpkin thing? That's another. That's what I always thought. Every time like there's a bathroom joke in this house, it's like Blumpkin, and we're like, no,
Blumpkin.
you're not gonna get that. That's not
Like, I don't want a Blumpkin, and I don't even want to be close to a Blumpkin like that. But some of these people, people got different ideas about what they love. My question about Chad Johnson would be, why did he feel it was necessary to fake that other lifestyle?
Oh,
Like,
because
if you just want to be prudent with your dollars, be prudent with your dollars. Why you walking around projecting something else? Everybody
He
knows
wasn't
you got money.
necessarily-
It's not like he had to pretend that it's not like he had to show chains so people knew he had money. Like, his contract was in the newspaper. Everybody knew he had money.
Well, let's be honest.
So why project
though.
that?
Well, let's be honest. Chad Ochocinco during his time, or Chad Johnson during his time, was one of many wide receivers in the NFL, but he's also one that we still know and we still can talk about. And most people say, "Oh, Chad Johnson, Ochocinco, they know him. He was branding, he was marketing, he was playing the game. He's playing the game,
Okay.
and he got more of it, got more of that extra bread that's for like outside of his contract than many other wide receivers did. But he was very smart about it." But in mentioning her, though, I didn't actually get to the point. And the point was that the person who had written it, who had put this article out, was like, they broke up their engagement. But she mentioned that he gotten $400,000 out of him. And she was like, winning. The girl still won. And I'm like, how the fuck could anybody possibly assess that that's winning? You lost access to a bigger, larger amount of money, and a man who obviously cared enough about you that he would spend $400,000 on you. Someone who's cheap, that would spend money on you. So I don't know what you're expecting for support. Is it supposed to be about getting into a supporting, loving relationship with the partner, or is it supposed to be about getting as much money as we can get? Which one is it?
And now it's transactional dating.
Yeah,
that's
man.
what we do now. Everything's a transaction. So
But
this
she
is
lost.
right. But
She didn't win. She lost.
But you know what? At her limited level, she probably thinks she's winning.
yeah,
Like, if it's see, here's the thing. Like, so she got a Chad Johnson. She thinks she can get another one. and
That's
maybe she
the
can,
issue.
maybe she can't. Time will tell. Like if she's and
with
you know
that?
if she's that good looking, then she'll probably find another fool. You know,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, but
Scottie Pippen.
it's
How many
it's
fools has Scottie Pippen's wife found?
Yeah, yeah.
well, you know, it's like
Yeah.
it's the way back when I was in a casino playing craps, and this old like man about 75 years old came up to the table and he hit the number like 8 times in a row. And so after about the third time, he was a professional dice thrower. After about the third time, the guy sitting next to me, he says, "Look, you ain't betting heavy enough." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "This only happens once every 2 or 3 years." He says, "You need to throw everything you got in there and make as much as you can because it ain't going to happen again."
You got to
And the
ride
thing,
it.
yeah, you got to ride it. So the thing is, these women, they literally believe that they have access to these men and they're going to get the same deal at some point later on down the road. And they're gravely mistaken. They don't understand it's a one-off. And that's the hardest thing for them to understand. And by the time they figure it out, it's going to be too late, you know?
Yeah, yeah. My problem was not with what happened between the two of them, but it was more about the message. Because we were talking about messaging earlier in the show, right? We were talking about the messaging that keeps us from not feeling that we are proud of ourselves. To be people, to be humans, to be black men, to be black women. The thought process that brings you to the point where you feel like you're less than, when you're not. Okay? This is where it begins. This is where it's being taught. Because she was being taught that that $400,000, that's like even, and it wasn't even directly to her. It was to her business. So if she's not really diligent about keeping her business up, then it's just going to be a loss. And it's just stupid when you can have a partner who will help you build and grow and cultivate and just grow. And that's not what it is. We don't walk into this, trees don't come up fully sprouted. They're not fully
But
sprouted, they just are.
for another perspective on this though, so many years ago, they sent me to the Shapiro Negotiation Institute. So there's a lawyer. I'm going to forget. I believe it's Mark Shapiro, but I could be wrong about that. But he was Cal Ripken's agent,
Yeah.
and he has over the years developed this. He literally teaches classes about negotiation. And the proctor that day was a college buddy of one of the guys in my office, and he had called him and told him, let him know that I was coming down. So at one point, there's a drill, and the guy comes to me and he goes, "Hey, yeah, you're Joe's buddy, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I'm gonna give you. We're gonna go out there, and there's gonna be a dollar, and you're gonna negotiate it with somebody, and I want you to get the best possible deal." And I'm sure he hyped the other guy up and told him the same thing, right? So we both wound up getting nothing because we were both trying to win the deal when really, look, whether it's $1 or $1,000, it's whatever part of that we get is more than we currently have now. And that's winning.
Yeah.
But we were both demanding to be greater than 50%. And so we both got nothing. And so all these people, like their perspective on what winning is, they don't realize, they're not doing all the math. They're just looking at it in a very narrow way. So yeah, she's winning, and hopefully her business survives and all of this. If her business survives and she runs it for 20 years, it's a big win for her. She might not get the man that she wanted. She could have had more, but she still won. But only time will
Yeah,
tell on that.
yeah. Well, she won, and everyone else is losing in the equation of that. I'm trying to figure that out because there's not that many people. Andrew, you've broken down the statistics before on the show, and we thank you for that about how over 6 feet, $100,000. I don't know. What do you end up with? Basically, like 1%. You got to go out and find that 1%. It's that 1% of a man. Hey, but those odds. It's better. It's better odds than actually encountering a transgender person during the course of your day. And
Mm.
that's one good thing about it because
It all depends. Do you ride the New
we
York
all
City
know
subway or not?
we vote against that. We vote against transgenders.
I
Yeah, I
saw a
get
guy
it,
in the
Rose.
airport the other day. I like I don't care. I'm not transphobic or anything. People are people. But if you're gonna put on the skirt, shave your fucking legs.
Shave your legs.
If you're gonna put on the skirt, don't have a fucking afro running up and down your calves and shit.
Oh,
Clean it
geez.
off.
The visual you
Nothing
just
wrong with
made.
it.
It was bad. Like he could have done pigtails up and down his legs.
Oh,
It's not
And that's
sexy.
disturbing. I just got off a flight literally. I come up the ramp, make the right, boom, he's sitting right there. I'm like, sorry, she's sitting right there.
She's sitting right. Oh, you
Yeah.
know what? Not to do that anymore. It's Trump land.
Whatever.
It's Trump land.
He's
You know,
not my daddy.
listen. Listen. I've gotta just change the rules just in case. I told wifey, she just had the surgery, and I told her, I said, I'm gonna cook dinner tonight because I know you got a bad shoulder, but if Trump comes in here, you've got to get out there and you've got to cook with the one arm because it's like having shoulder surgery is no use to not do your chores.
Well, here's the thing though. If it was Trump,
Maybe.
he's not really concerned about cooking because, men are better chefs anyway, they'll tell you. Um, you know, he'll just want to know why she's not servicing you while you're cooking.
I'm
yeah,
trying to tell you, some things can be better with Trump. It's just ridiculous, man. The world is it's just like, it's so funny though. To me, because I'm not going to get about it. There's nothing to get upset about. It's like, what these people do when they make their mistakes, up to them. I'm just going to work my way around it as usual and everything. A couple more starts, and I'll be ready to go into hibernation for when they come to get me. And it's going to be easier to get me because, like, I don't know if I'm black, if I'm foundational black American, if I'm indigenous, if I'm Caribbean, if I'm from Guyana or from Jamaica or Trinidad. I don't know where I can go. I go to the wrong place, they're going to kick me out in the street because they don't understand. It's like we were saying early in the show, Andrew. It's like strength in numbers. Some people just don't understand. You can't break your numbers down. We have something that's very, very much in common, which is basically we're all brown men. Bob is half Hispanic. You know, you wouldn't know him walking down the street and everything. And
It depends on the neighborhood.
Yeah, you could say he's actually 100% Hispanic because there are black Hispanics. You could say that. And
There
it
are
would
black
be probably
Hispanics,
true.
and as you well know, walking through the streets of Brentwood, everybody was like, you're down with us,
Yeah.
Holmes. Like, I'm
Yeah.
black too. No, you down with
Yeah.
us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time I ever get called Hispanic is by pretty Dominican girls when they say Dominicana, in hopes. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. That's why I'm going to give a shout out to you, Dominican mommies, right now. You have good taste in men. You really do. You really, really do. So, guys, do you have anything else? I'm going to try to keep this one short because guess what? I'm coming back tomorrow to do another show. I'm going to post
Under the new
show.
title.
Possibly under the new title. Possibly.
So now, if you come back tomorrow and you do it, and you were inclined to do a new show, but you haven't nailed down all the thing, will you be back as Born in Trouble again? Will it
Now,
make
I'll
will it
just
make
be,
another appearance? Will you resurrect it? Or will you give it another
I'll,
name, an interim name?
I'll just be like the symbol. It'll be the
Okay.
It'll be an
symbol.
And it's
unpronounceable
simple.
symbol.
It'll be like, it'll be our Black Album show.
There you go.
It'll be the one thing. But you know what? We need a rebrand. We need new life because the things that we talked about tonight, I kind of want to get more in depth. I want to get more in depth about the community and what's going on with our people, our people, all people. I want to elevate. So what we're going to do. We're going to elevate, we're going to start having guests back on the show. And it's going to be more frequent than it's been. So, but Born in Trouble was a great job, was a great show. And we were born in trouble, like honestly. So give ourselves a hand. And we need to talk a little bit more about what that means, being born in trouble, what that time means, so that way we can bridge some of these gaps to help some of these young people come to a better understanding of what they're up against.
You know, if you were going to close it down, and I know you probably just came up with the idea, you probably just finally came to the decision, but you should have waited to get your hair cut until after you closed that down, and you could have started completely fresh.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
just admiring the do.
Well, you know what? I love the afro. The afro was a lot of fun, but I just decided. I just woke up one day and I was like, you know what? It's time to go and everything. I am going to grow it back out again, but first I'm going to finish the business that I started, and I feel more like myself. I feel like more like I'm a better manager. You know, when I feel more like myself. So the afro is more like that's like a good vibe for me. You know, it's a vibe. You know, it's not, but it's not this vibe.
Oh,
Right?
if I had hair, it'd be a vibe. Like if
Yeah,
I had hair
exactly.
at this age, it'd be
Yeah.
a vibe full
If
time.
I could grow it.
Oh, it'd be a vibe. Y'all be seasick
It's
for me
coming
and shit.
back.
Them waves would be rolling, and I'd be talking shit day in and day out.
Oh yeah.
If I had hair,
It's
goddamn.
definitely coming. I love the hair and everything. I think people started to appreciate the hair because it's like, you know what? It was a great glorious mane. It really was a great glorious mane. But bring it back. But right now, it's time to get these things straight and everything. And it's time for a new direction. So we'll work our way to that, and that's basically where it is.
Ooh.
Born in Trouble.
John E.
Just really
Super
quick.
genius.
Just really quick. Just really quick. Is Joe Shane the worst fucking GM in all of football? Right now, this fucking guy. Is he like, you know, are the Giants like the biggest dumpster fire? I know, Rob, you're unhappy because your team signed Saquon or your city's team signed Saquon and they go into the Super Bowl. I said something.
I'm not unhappy about that. I'm just unhappy about the way our fans behave. I'm tired of watching them behave like drunken hooligans and act like that's the greatest thing that ever happened to the world. Like that energy and passion is the best use of their time and efforts. I'm just tired of watching that. I have some wedding pie that I need to work on.
Yeah. Born in Trouble. Because we're going to talk